My brothers and sisters in third world poverty, you have to discern beyond the gold facade. When you are a person in a third world country who's looking to these Europeans and Americans to give you a life beyond what the niggas in the hoods can give you, what them niggas you grow up with can give you, the guys who are trapped in the same socio-economic climate as you, who have the same problems as you, who don't have the ability to rise to the economic state that impresses you and gives you luxury, because behind luxury is abuse. You will subscribe to Delululand. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, Delululand. My name is Uhari, and it is so lovely to have you here. Firstly, I'd like to say happy 2025 to everybody. We did it. Did a little hula hoop around the sun, 365 days. Now we're into the next one, and let's hope it is a better one than last year. Does anybody know where Cat Williams is? Because he feels kind of like the old man in the tribe that goes to the top of the mountain and tells everybody what's going to be happening, especially after he called last year so well. I feel like I'm waiting for some guidance from him. So if anybody knows Cat Williams, tell him to go back to talk to Shannon Sharp again, because that was really fun. Anyway, let me get to today's topic. My earrings, don't you like them? Aren't they so cute? Would you like to buy them? Well, you can, because I bought them like down a random street somewhere in South Africa, and I'm not making merch. I just wanted to rub my beautiful earrings in your face because I want to channel my African heritage, because what I am talking about today ties into it slightly. Today we're talking about the world's most immature man, baby. Other than being a very immature man, he is also a very antisocial man who perceives himself as being above other people. And that sense of superiority plays into how he treats people from another country and culture. But before I go into it too much, I just want to show you the video that triggered this video, and then we'll discuss it a little bit more.
Well, it didn't take long. It only took 2 years, literally to the day, December 27th, for my Filipino wife to become fully Americanized, hate everything about me and what I provide, and decide to leave. Yeah, welcome to the post that I'm ever going to make. There's a lot to it, and I'm not going to go into it, okay? But suffice to say, after providing and going on the Disney World trip, which included the funeral for my mom, I got up to day 6, I think, on that, because it all broke down at Magic Kingdom. Ironic. And I didn't post anything after that, because when we got back from Orlando to St. Simons, Georgia, I was greeted with the announcement from Jayanne that she wanted a separation. And then I discovered through text that she had been discussing this with her family and making plans to also take the children. So that's heavy, right? That's a nuke. And I'm gonna go into my bunker. So I came downstairs in my nice 4-story mansion and just stayed by myself through Christmas Eve and through Christmas Day. And I missed Christmas with my children. My in-laws, my mother and my father-in-law, and Jayanne, they proceeded to open the presents without me. Presents all of which I bought. Yeah, the separation is a separation. I'm lucky enough to have a big house, and the logistics of it can be met right away, but I spent Christmas utterly by myself. And it's coming up on New Year's Eve, and I'm still alone. Because there's no communication from her. Why? Because she's communicating with her parents. She has the total backing and validation of her parents, plus TikTok, all external sources of validation, and it's my position, my feelings are not relevant. She's got it figured out. She's got a plan. I'm waiting to hear what the plan is, and we'll see what happens from that point. But I'm pretty, I'm at peace with what has occurred, what could occur. I am done being Mr. Fix-It. Fix-It Felix. I'm not going to be the simp, nice guy, Fix-It Felix anymore. A relationship takes two people. And she made the decision for the separation. She's made the announcement and made plans with family to take our children back to the Philippines. And she's an adult. She has accountability. It's on her to come to me and explain to me what her plan is, such that it is, and what can be done about it. So, surprise, no more countdown with the great fun in Disney World. It was a f***ing disaster. And, you know, that's the truth. Social media is not about the truth, but I'm about the truth, so that's what my Filipino wife has been Americanized. My Americanized Filipino wife. That seems to be triggering a lot of people. Let me explain what I mean. In America, if a wife, even a girlfriend, is not happy in the relationship, all she has to say to the world on social media, and especially to the government, I'm not happy. And if she drops the word abused or anything along those lines, the American system steps in. It steps in to protect her against any allegations that she makes. And the man's side of the story is, it's all assumed. I'm an evil, controlling, patriarchal, oppressive white dude. And the narrative instantly becomes me bad, she victim. So the fight that we're having, that's still there. Okay? That's always going to hang over my head. I'm a passport bro. I brought her here. I married her here. I signed all the government forms saying that I will support her for a minimum of 10 or 1,000 years. I don't know. I don't even know what I signed.
It's 10 years, you know.
And all you dudes out there who have been through this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Americanized means weaponization of the male-female relationship to benefit the female, because family court is not a judicial system. It's a corporation. For profit, digging into the pockets of dads, of men. Because, yeah, we're in a patriarchal system and men still have most of the money. Now, that's exactly what's true in our relationship. She doesn't have any money. I have all the money. And it's, you know, a relationship can go south when the woman has lost love for her man and she's just going for the bag. And if she goes for the bag, she's going to get a huge portion of that. That's what I mean by Americanized. Jan is solidly Filipina, and that comes with a lot of stuff. And one of those things is she's going to be fiercely defensive for her family, her mom and dad. And this whole fight is hinging on the fact that I disrespected her mom and dad. Never mind that they disrespected me too. We'll get into that later. But Jan is not Americanized in that she's materialistic or even greedy. But she senses and she knows the support that she would get if things really got ugly between us. The American system is on her side, not mine.
Yeah, so that was cringy. Other than being very immature, he is extremely insecure. And that is why he would go and pick a young woman from another culture. He's seeking control.
Hey guys, I just wanted to give you an update. I am safe and the kids are safe, and I just wanted to thank all of you for your positive comments, supporting me through this process. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I am not setting up any GoFundMe or any donations. I just wanted to clarify too that I am not getting any allowance and I don't have credit card. So everything that I am purchasing, I have to ask permission, and this needs to be discussed. So if you want something, we're gonna discuss it. This is how our marriage works.
Now, I saw my wife post on TikTok yesterday, I think it was, that she has to ask permission to get money. Yeah, actually, that's true. And when I thought about it, I realized that was pretty embarrassing.
See, this is a man who left his previous wife of 20 or more years because she fell sick and got cancer. And because she couldn't devote all her attention to him anymore, and he didn't want to be the loving, supporting husband who helps her through her healing journey, he decided now would be the perfect time to use the excuse that, you know what, I want kids and you're never gonna have them. You've been together for 20 years. This whole you can't have kids thing, if that was the real deal breaker, would have happened before. It was just an excuse that was convenient at the time. Okay, see, he's now free and he decides, I want to start a new life. What am I going to get myself? A new wife. Goes to the Philippines, finds himself a pretty young thing, and brings her back to America to marry her and have her all to himself. People who are in first world countries, who seek out people in other countries that aren't first world countries, countries that have higher rates of poverty and crime, countries where the people living within them would be highly incentivized to leave, people who are vulnerable, people who would be attracted by what is mundane to other people who are from the first world culture. His main problem is his inability to control her to the extent that he wants, and it is scary because he has almost complete control over her, and that isn't enough. The most disturbing thing he said in that video is this. She hasn't been talking to me. Why? She has the total backing of her parents plus TikTok. This all started because she asked for a separation. I thought separation like she was going to leave. She just separated to a different level of their 4-story house. That's right. All she did was, you know what? I want to separate. Can't deal with you right now. We're just going to be upstairs. If you want to come to the rest of the family, if you're ready to apologize, you can come and join us. This wasn't said. This part is just in my head. Fills in the blanks. So they were here on the upper level. And did he go to talk, to apologize, to mediate? No. This man, who is probably closer to twice her age, decided that he was going to throw a tantrum and stay downstairs instead of going upstairs to his wife, children, and in-laws. Spend Christmas alone and then view himself as the victim, and then get mad because she opened the presents that he bought anyway. God, I hate this type of person. I really, really do. When I say he is insecure, that is the embodiment of it. People who are secure in themselves, what they have to bring to the world, to their relationships, are not that controlling. They are willing to allow the person that they're with to continue to exist within the parameters of free will. They trust the people that they are with to go outside and participate with the real world, to be functioning adults, to work, to share responsibility. They aren't afraid because they know that they bring more to the table than just the promise of a luxurious life. This is not that man. His biggest point of contention is that she has people to turn to. He's mad because at this point, her parents are in the house. They're there to listen to her and validate her feelings. He's mad that when he goes online, people listen to her and validate her feelings, which is unfair because people listen to him and validate his feelings too. It's the internet. Anybody's feelings can be validated. But he doesn't like the fact that other people talking to her adds an extra layer of accountability, because she's going to be aware of his toxicity and she's going to push against it. He's mad that he's taken her from the Philippines, yet she isn't completely socially isolated. That is the biggest act of social isolation, taking somebody from a different country and putting them in your country and then not empowering them to be able to have some sense of freedom, to be able to develop beyond just being your housewife who gives you children that you're willing to not spend Christmas with because you're throwing a tantrum. One of the things he says in the video, she's an adult. It was on her to come to me and talk. He's the bigger adult in the relationship. She's 28. I'm 28. I can't imagine what it's like to be so burdened. So burdened. And that plays into my next point. We have to talk about her. We have to talk about the other side of the coin on this whole passport bro phenomena. And that is the people. You can be a passport bro or hoe, because women be doing it too. Bros and hoes. Everybody can be a hoe and everybody can be a bro. So it's about the psychological makeup of someone who wants a younger, more attractive person to be an accessory in their lives. See, the thing about the American dollar, which is strong, but I'd rather you send me a pound, a euro, or Kuwaiti dinar, because when it comes into my country, whoop, you're like, oh, this is just $5, girl. $5 here can give me a good time. But this currency disparity gives people who essentially have nothing to offer in a relationship the leverage to get somebody who's completely outside of their league within their own country. It's like when losers in their early 20s date high school girls, because to somebody in high school, say having a car is impressive because they can't even drive yet. But to a woman who is also his age, he has to live up to that sphere of adulthood. The sphere of adulthood where having a car isn't an achievement, it's an expectation in a different economy. Because girl, the car, and then the petrol, and then the wear and tear, and then I'll just take a taxi. This desire to escape poverty or a desire to have a lifestyle higher than what you're experiencing comes at a price. There is incentive for both parties in the relationship, and there is a price to being bought essentially by a passport bro, and the price is the loss of any semblance of independence. See, he already has her very socially isolated, but the presence of her parents made him say that she is Americanized. What's his definition of Americanized? Somebody who has human rights, somebody who is aware that they can reach out to a legal system that can protect them, somebody who has social connections, somebody who has a nest into which they can fall, somebody who doesn't need him to survive. How dare she act entitled like an American woman? Why don't you just cook and clean? And so she does. Does he appreciate it? No, he expects it. The scariest for me portion of this was or is the financial abuse. And when you are a person in a third world country who's looking to these Europeans and Americans to give you a life beyond what the niggas in the hoods can give you, what them niggas you grow up with can give you, the guys who are trapped in the same socio-economic climate as you, who have the same problems as you, who don't have the ability to rise to the economic state that impresses you and gives you luxury, because behind luxury is abuse. There's a price for all these cute little social media pictures, all these trends, all these hashtags, all these TikToks, all these things that are projected to the world because you want a certain image. My brothers and sisters in third world poverty, you have to discern beyond the gold facade. Somebody who doesn't want their own people, that's somebody you need to be a little wary of. He's mad that he can't control her to the extent that he wants, which is crazy because she doesn't even have a bank account. She says to the people who are like, I'm not one of those people who send money home, mainly because I don't get money. I don't have money. I don't even have an allowance. His response to that is, well, if she wants to get a job, she can get a job.
It's not like I spend a lot of money on myself. I don't go drinking with the boys or golfing or play video games, stuff like that. See, my philosophy is the money that I earn is the family's money. There's no mine and all that. But, you know, what she said was pretty triggering. So I want to tell you something. I've come up with a plan. And the plan is for Jan to earn the money that she wants. And how are we going to do that? She started a business. She started a business as a landlord. That way, she can file taxes and contribute to Social Security. She needs to do that anyway to become a U.S. citizen and learn responsibility with money. Landlords have a lot of responsibility. They have a lot of overhead, right? The construction that I'm doing down here, she's going to have to pay for that out of the first couple, 3, 4, 6 months of the rent. And any maintenance and support that I give her, she got to pay me like a handyman. And learn responsibility with money by running a business, profit, loss, everything else. On in our marriage, after about a year, I just stopped giving her money because I was getting pissed off at the waste, right? And another thing is, I don't feel like a wife should get paid to be a mom, right? You're both contributing to the family with your sweat equity. I do sweat equity as well as cash. And a mom taking care of kids, being a stay-at-home mom, that's her investment in the family. I don't think you should get paid to be a mom. So I don't know if this will work, but I think I found a way for Jan to generate the income that she wants, contribute to her citizenship, and earn the money that she has so that she can be more responsible for it. And stop saying that she needs permission from me to spend money or to get money. Thanks. Bye.
She can work. You know what she's going to be? She's going to be a landlord. She's going to get this property. She's going to have to pay me for this. She's going to have to do this. His idea of her gaining independence is to throw in her face all the responsibility that he perceives himself to continuously be burdened with in order to give her a standard of life. My favorite part is when she came out and said, you know what? That little Disney trip he keeps chirping about, his ex-wife, whom I love, paid for it.
Just wanted to let you know too that we have a really good relationship with the ex-wife, and to be honest with you, she's really nice to my kids and she's really nice to me. She's like my closest mother here in Hawaii. I can talk to her anytime, and you know, she's really a good person. And I remember when we were in the mainland, she told us, my parents and me, and she said that this is my gift to you. Just for clarification too, half of the trip paid by his ex-wife. All of the park tickets, Universal and also Disney World, it was paid by his ex, and also the Airbnb and the grocery.
He isn't grateful for anything that she does. He expects it, but he wants her to be eternally grateful on her knees. Thank you, Master. Thank you for anything that he does. But why should she be when he's not affording the same level of care? And like she said, she is very grateful to him. He's mad because he did something in a moment, and in that moment, she didn't respond the way he wanted her to. I watch a lot of true crime, and I know how things like this with men like that usually end. That man doesn't have a wife or children. He has possessions. His possessions. He made all sorts of promises like, hey, you'll be able to come home or visit. And in over 2 years, she hasn't been home. And he doesn't even have the empathy to understand what kind of depression comes from being completely isolated from your home. She made a lot of free choices to get in, but he's making it extremely hard for her to be able to choose to get out. He's trying to remove that choice. And if you have no means of supporting yourself, no means of external support, you are stuck with him. These are the men that y'all are busy pretending to be sexually attracted to so that y'all can live a better life. And then you get abused in a country that isn't yours. Could have married that guy. You wouldn't be rich, but you would be happy. And your parents would be respected. And that's coming into my second point. The where I said it connects to my Africanness. all of us people who were colonized, people who would be called ethnic by Europeans if they were in their countries, people who are in countries that aren't completely consumed by Western culture. People like that who still retain quite a bit of indigenous knowledge and customs and practices. Our cultures seem to follow a very similar framework. For example, I really love watching Asian horror movies because they get it right. There is one called The Medium. It's a Taiwanese. No, it's not Taiwanese. There's one called The Medium. That's a Thai horror. And I was looking at the indigenous practices, the indigenous medicine, the relationship that they have with their ancestors, how elders are treated. And I was like, this is so similar to what we do, what we believe, our customs. And a big thing in cultures that have retained indigenous culture is respect and reverence for elders. And that's something he's completely lacking. Respect and reverence for elders and empathy. Basic empathy that allows you to exist, coexist with other people without being completely antisocial. Because you don't understand that sometimes when you're living within a very close-knit social group, you're gonna do things that you don't really agree with in terms of like your ego, not your morality. I'm gonna give you an example. There is a shop that I go to. It's like a grocery, and it is owned by Bengali people from Bangladesh. And there is this one store owner who, sits in the store and everything, greets people, that kind of thing. And I wear my wireless earbuds when I'm out in public, but only one ear, okay? So I can be like in my own world, but also aware of like things that are actually happening, cars, sounds, and all of that. And so usually when I walk into stores, I just walk in. So what would happen is, I think it happened perhaps 4 different occasions or 5, where I wouldn't be aware of the fact that he was greeting me because I'd have the earbud in, and then he'd like at some point like started like, and I was like, hey, I'm so, and eventually I decided that when I go into his store, I'm not gonna have the earbuds in. So I go to his store, and now it's a cute little joke that we have. When I walk into the store, I kind of like, see these tiny ears, no earbuds, and we laugh and I greet him. And I do this on 2 levels. The first level being a respect for elders, and then the second being a respect for culture. The extent to which he was offended by me just walking in and ignoring him and not acknowledging him was more than, say, if I walked into a white store, like a store that's run by white people. If I walk into a store run by Black people, I don't, because they don't exist in South Africa, because the Bengali and the Pakistani and the Indians came and they hijacked what was the Black economy. And it's a whole thing. But if they were Black people stores, when I walk in, I would greet everybody because it's ingrained. Dumelang, dumelang batho ba baholo. That means I'm greeting you, I'm greeting all the people. So because of that respectful culture, I was like, oh, okay, I can get away with not treating white people like that. But because, again, you have another person retain a lot of indigenous values, not completely westernized, there is that semblance of respect that you have for elders. Now, could I simply walk into the store and not do any of this? Sure. I don't have to be nice to him. I don't have to greet him. I don't have to take out. It's not a law in the country. I can walk in, buy something, walk out. But I don't. Because it really offended him, and I could tell it was on a cultural level. So I just stopped, and it became a fun thing between us. And I did it also out of a respect, because as not fun as it is to watch your country's economy be hijacked by people from other countries and know that your taxpayer money is going to be going there and all sorts of things, that the money that the people are making isn't enriching them because it isn't coming back to our economy. All of those things are not nice. But I can admire the extent to which they go to ingratiate themselves because they learn our language, our Black language, in a way that white people who live with us have not. And yes, it plays into why their businesses do so good. But again, to put that much effort in shows something. And that means they have a sense of social empathy and connection. There are certain things that you socially do that you don't like, but don't take anything away from you. So you can do it, and all you'll be is just a little annoyed. I say all of this to come to the point that when he was talking about why she was so upset and why the separation happened, she mentioned the fact that her parents were hurt because they felt very disrespected by him.
The 5 things that I did to disrespect my Filipino in-laws. Now, I qualify Filipino because different cultures get disrespected in different ways. So don't come at me for being a racist. This is the context. Hi, Chad to Dad here. Had a horrible Disney World experience with my in-laws.
Oh, goodness gracious, sir. Come on. Show.
And I'm just going to tell my side of it. Not my side of the story, but I'm going to say what I did to disrespect my Filipino mother and father, and as well as my sister. Number 1, I did not eat the food that they cooked. It wasn't because I didn't like it, and it wasn't because I wasn't hungry. It's because I protested. I didn't eat the food that they cooked.
So you was being ignorant.
And then number 2, when they left the food out on the table, that stayed out all day, when we came back from one of the Disney World days, I called them slobs for leaving the food out. Number 3, I clapped sarcastically when Mama finally stepped in and helped Jan by bathing the kids after a long day. I clapped loud and long and sarcastically. Number 4, I snatched the keys out of Papa's hands. He spent his morning loading the car up, getting ready to go back to Georgia, and he went to hand the keys to me, and I just snatched them out of his hand and went down to start the car. And number 5, I told Ate, you too, when she said that I was being a bad host.
Oh, because she told the truth.
Right, that's the facts. That's the truth. Those are the top 5 things that I did to disrespect my Filipino mother and father-in-law and my sister-in-law. I'm going to make things right. But it's too soon for that, and we will get to it.
When it comes to the in-laws, when you get married in indigenous cultures, you know what I mean, the words that white people use for the brown folk, us people, when you get married, it's not 2 people getting married. It's 2 families coming together. One of the most unrelatable things that I see in American media particularly is this thing of people coming and being like, Mom, Dad, he proposed, we're getting married. And I was like, yeah? So he just up and decides he wants to marry you, gets on the knee, you say yes, and then you announce at home, are you mad? Martin? Bashan? You can't do that here. If my boyfriend wants to marry me, start by sending a letter or email to the family announcing, I would like to marry your daughter. I would like to get together with you and my family so we can negotiate around this. Then, when my daddy has said, yes, the family can come, the lobola ceremony begins. Then his family comes to the gate, and now they're going to knock. And when they're knocking, it's like they bring something so that you can open the gate, start the proceedings. Usually this comes in the form of cash and liquor, hard liquor. Then the family comes in. Each family has a crew, and it's a crew of uncles. Well, now that, family structure, nuclear family destruction, lack of male figures in households, a lot of times women are there representing their families. But traditionally speaking, it's the uncles. The uncles come face to face, pow, pow. And then they start negotiating a price. And on the surface, the dowry. On the surface, you can look at it and be like, oh my God, it's so outdated. You're buying her. That's not what's happening. It's just observing the ceremony. And at the same time, the money that comes out is actually to help the couple. But it's a whole thing, and there's festivities, and there's joy, and there's culture, and there's respect. You can't even get in the yard without dropping something in there. When you talk to them like they are the elders. You have humility, those kind of thing. This kind of thing. And it's a whole thing. The girls come, I'm going to be in a blanket. Then they're going to come to each of us and be like, is this your flower? Is this your flower? And then it's going to come to me and he's going to be like, yes. And then I'm going to go away. Man, it's going to be fun. Anyway, my point is there is this respect for elders and in-laws, because they become your mom and your dad. So you speak to them and relate to them like you would a mom or dad. You understand the dynamic of the relationship, that they are senior and you are junior in this environment. He could not grasp this concept, and he could not respect this concept. He respects no one, answers to no one. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He decides, this is my house, you assimilate. That's another sign of these passport bros. Elderly passport bros. Well, he's an elderly passport bro. But the thing is, there is this complete lack of interest in assimilation, in blending, in learning. You won't see them learning the languages. You won't see them wanting to go back home to the family to respect them. You won't see them eating the food that they cook. He listed out the things that were most offensive. They cooked and he didn't eat it. Because he didn't eat it, they left it out, and then he called them slobs. He says he has the goal. He explains that he didn't eat the food, not because it wasn't nice or anything. He did it out of protest because he was throwing a tantrum. How hard is it to eat food that somebody has cooked for you? And eating, again, is a very precious element of people who are in touch with their indigenous cultures, because it's a very social thing. When I cook for you, it means a lot. So as my son-in-law, for you to turn your nose down on what we eat, to say basically that you are above it. Ew, I don't want to try this. Why don't you eat American? It's up to the indigenous people, the brown people, to assimilate, to adapt. There is no back and forth. The next thing he did is the father handed him car keys and he snatched them out. These things that he's doing, he's throwing tantrums, he's acting out. These are choices that he is making. There's no need to snatch something from someone. You don't do that. Don't snatch, especially to your elders. Don't just come and snatch. You take. It seems, I guess, small to somebody who is from a culture that is fiercely independent, fiercely individualistic. There is this I don't give a fuck about how you feel, your emotions, your culture, anything. I don't give a fuck. You're in my place now. I have control. I don't have to do anything. I can just snatch shit out and be disrespectful. But you must understand, when you live in a culture your whole life, expecting your son-in-law to have a certain level of respect for you, and then realizing that you allowed your daughter, but allowed is difficult because she was an adult, but in a sense that this is the man that your daughter is going to spend the rest of her life with. A man who lacks empathy to this extent. How is he going to treat my daughter if he can't even respect me? If he talks to me like this, what is he doing to my daughter? You are expecting a certain decorum. You acted within that decorum with your in-laws. This is an expected relationship, and then it happens, and the person just treats you like you're nothing, and they look down upon you, and they look at you like you're filth. Then he talks about the sarcastic clapping when he says the grandmother finally helped with the grandkids, like it's her duty. He clapped sarcastically for a long time. What is that? All of this is unnecessary behavior. And he sees nothing wrong with it. He sees it as such a small thing. And that to me says a lot about what he saw in a household as a child. The dynamics he must have observed. Because adults who have no reverence or respect come from a childhood where they don't trust caregivers, because the caregivers aren't there to attend to their most basic emotional needs. So a way to adapt to that is you stop asking for help, because when you do, nobody offers it. And when you stop asking for help, you become too independent. You lack a respect for authority. At its extremes, you have people who will get fired from every job they have, fail at every relationship that they have, end up in jail because they just don't respect anything. Every relationship that he's ever had, including this one, was going to and is going to fail, because he's not equipped with the skills of being somebody who's capable of compromise. Everything has to be done his way. And he thought by getting this young Filipino wife who is going to be completely dependent on him, he thought that by doing that, he would be able to gain the control that he wants and have everything he wants, when he wants it, how he wants it. And now that she has a bit of support, he's mad. That's what Americanized is to him. It's a woman who can leave me and survive. A woman who doesn't need me. A woman who's aware of her rights. A woman who can talk back to me. A woman who can be my equal. He doesn't want any of that, because he's a very bitterly insecure man. Nothing he gets, nothing he achieves ever fills that hole. Not the 4-story house, not the fancy car, not the sexy wife. He'll die searching for things that make him look good in other people's eyes. And he will never dwell within any validation he gets. He will fuck up every social relationship he is in, because he's insufferable. Can't stand himself. What I hope people will take from this video, people who aren't living in first world countries, don't date people who look down upon you, your culture, your country. Don't date people who are racist. And don't think that because somebody is willing to have sex with you, that they are not racist. Asterix, see Thomas Jefferson. How many kids did he have that were mixed race? Because he kept on having sex with his black slaves. You see it everywhere, even with these white women who come from these countries, who also financially abuse these young toy boys that they get, and then become angry at the dynamics of a relationship where somebody doesn't find you that attractive, where somebody is looking at money as the incentive to be with you. And then you'll be angry and you will be insecure when that is what you led with. The fuck, dude? The fuck? If you're not happy about your league, the kind of people that are available to you socially in your country, that likely means that you aren't attracted to yourself, your counterpart. You don't want you in a partner. So you have to look somewhere else. And if that's the case, relationships aren't for you. Therapy is for you. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for sitting here, for listening to me. Thank you to all my new subscribers, everybody who's been commenting, liking. You guys are doing the most, and I absolutely love it. Thank you so much. I am so grateful. I hope that you will join me in my next video. This has been Uhari from Delululand. Bye.